baby, I couldn't talk. But I grew and I grew. I grew and I grew. But suddenly I was a very big boy.
Yes.
But I was still a teenager.
Oh, you're not a teenager yet.
No.
You're still a toddler turning into a little boy.
I'm a toddler.
Yeah, turning into a little boy.
When I get to an adult, well, I had to work with you.
Exactly, you'll go to work.
And I'll go to work. I have to do things.
The question is, what work would you like to do? There's so many different jobs in the world. There's from postman to doctor to dentist to optician to banker to lawyer to accountant to butcher to baker to shopkeeper.
And I'm going to an adult, but I'm still
You're still a child.
I
am still a child. I am still a child. But soon,
I will be an adult.
yes, but before you're an adult, you become a teenager and then an adolescent. Well, ready for the story? Once upon a time, there were 5 little bears who all lived together in a nice little house.
Is it the 3 bears and Goldilocks?
Nothing to do with Goldilocks. This is only about bears, nothing else. The bears one day looked out of the window and saw it was a nice sunny day. Hey, they said, what a lovely day. Why don't we go camping and have a picnic? They all agreed that would be a great idea. So every bear had a little task. One bear had to make the sandwiches for the picnic. Another bear had to go and get the drinks and put them in bottles for the picnic. Another bear had to get the knives and forks and plates and pack them all up.
It was a family. It was family.
A family of 5 bears, yes?
It was 5 bears. It was a daddy. There was a mommy. There was a brother. And there was a sister. And there was a baby.
Exactly right. Daddy, mummy, brother, sister and baby. The family of 5 bears.
And then they went for a picnic.
Well, they were going to have a picnic and go camping at the same time.
Yeah.
So one of the bears packed the knives and forks and spoons in a big hamper with the food and the drinks. Another bear got the tent ready where they were going to sleep at night. And the last little bear was only a baby bear, so the baby bear just sat and laughed and watched them all. Finally, everything was ready and off they set into the woods, walking through the woods and gradually climbing up the mountain slope, going higher and higher. Finally, they came to a clearing in the woods on the side of the mountain, and they decided that would be a very good place for a picnic. So they laid out a large blanket on the ground, put the hamper on top of the blanket, and they all sat on the blanket and opened the hamper and started to get the knives and forks and plates out. Then they got the sandwiches out, and there were some sausages too, and some boiled eggs, and some carrots and cucumbers. And one of the bears, the mummy bear, poured everybody a nice drink of water, except for baby bear, who got a glass of milk. And then they all sat round eating the sandwiches in the middle of the forest where they could see the birds. Of course, the birds were looking down, hoping that they'd leave some crumbs that they could peck up. And they saw the rabbits scampering by, and they could hear the twitter of the birds, the bird song singing in the trees. It was a very, very nice day, and the sun was shining, and the 2 children bears, the 2 adult, the bigger children bears played and threw balls to each other. They had a really nice time, and Daddy and Mummy then took them on a walk through the forest. They found a running stream, and the children said, "Can we go in the water, Daddy?" And Daddy said, "Oh, all right." So they went down with their Wellingtons on and splashed around in the water, picking up stones, looking for gold nuggets. They didn't find any, but they looked and they looked and they looked. And one little boy decided to build a dam with sticks and stones, but somehow the water just seemed to always get through. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't stop the water, which just kept coming and coming from the mountains up above. And then it was time for the family to go to sleep, so they went back to the clearing and pitched the tent. Pitching a tent is when you put the tent up and you attach it to the ground tightly so it doesn't blow away if there's a heavy wind. So they put up the tent, they pitched the tent, and all 5 bears went inside the tent and lay down on a mattress that Daddy had blown up to keep so they wouldn't be lying on the hard ground underneath. And they all got on the mattress and covered themselves with a nice blanket and then decided to go to sleep. But before they went to sleep, the 2 children and the baby all wanted one thing from their daddy. Can you guess what it was?
I don't know.
A story, of course.
Ah.
So Daddy decided to tell a story. Can you guess what the story was about?
I don't know.
The Daddy's story was about 5 little bears who went on a picnic and went camping. And well, do you know what? The story just seemed to go round and round in a circle. Because when he got to the bit about where the bears went into the tent and the children bears wanted something, he said, guess what the children bears wanted? And they said, a story. So he said the story went like this. Once upon a time there were 5 little bears who wanted to go for a picnic and go camping. And he kept telling the story over and over again, backwards and forwards like that, until eventually all his children bears, the brother, the sister, and the little baby bear, they all fell asleep. And Mummy Bear fell asleep too. And even Daddy Bear fell asleep before he'd finished telling the story. And they slept in the tent under the stars in the cool night. And that's the end of the story. Now, would you like to sleep in a tent one day?
Yes. I want to be a bear and have a picnic. I want to be the baby bear, sitting laughing when I watch the funny bear and take the picnic. That's what I do.
And you shall have that, my darling. The next time, one day we get the tent out, we'll go in the forest together and we'll pitch the tent and have a picnic.
Oh.
And we can all sleep in the tent, and before we sleep, I'll tell a story.
We have a tent. But we have a sleeping bag.
Oh yes, we would need sleeping bags, wouldn't we? If you're going to go camping, you always need a sleeping bag to sleep in.
Daddy, we have to buy a sleeping bag.
I'll check with Mummy. There might be some somewhere, maybe in the garage, maybe in the basement, maybe in the attic.
But this one but one shop has a sleeping tent.
A shop had a sleeping bag?
Yes.
Okay. I'm surprised you know the word sleeping bag. I've no idea where you learned that. But you're right. When you go camping, you always take sleeping bags with you to sleep in.
Yes.
It's like a bag you sleep in. That's why they call it a sleeping bag. But it's a bag which looks like this. It's like what you've got on here.
Round.
It's just like this, except it's sewn together like a top and a bottom, and it's sewn up at the sides around here, so you can't fall out, and then you get into it. Right now, I'm going to say good night to you, my little boy. Good night, Aidan. See you in the morning. You can go to sleep, and we'll play this in the morning, shall we? If you get up early enough. If you don't get up early enough, then I'll take you for breakfast, and we'll go to the creche together. And when you come home from the creche, I'll come and get you a bit earlier, and we'll play with it on the way home. Or not on the way home, when I get home.
You play with that.
I'll look forward to it. And I can't wait to play with you.
Was that with the track?
With the track, exactly. I can't wait. Good night, little boy. Sleep tight. Shall I leave the door open or shut?
Open.
Okay, a little bit open.
I want you.
I'll come back in a minute, and you just...
I want you to tell us nice story.
You want me to sit beside you?
I want you to tell us nice story.
You want me to do what?
I want you to tell a nice story.
You want to tell another story? I'll have to think of one. Give me a few minutes while I see if I can think of one. If I can't, I won't tell it. If I can, I will. But wait there.
Why
But
is it Jack and Beanstalk?
I'll be back. Oh, Jack and the Beanstalk, I could tell. I know that one. I'll be back in a few minutes then. Good night.